Hey there, and good Thursday morning to you. I'm Brandy Smith. We're going to check in with Blake Matthews in just a second. The big story is, of course, the weather, but I want to hear from you. That's what these updates are all about. So leave any comments or questions you might have, and we're going to try to get those answered or respond to them a little bit later on. We have Brandon running the computer over here as well. We've shared links to all the stories we're going to cover up above. So if there's something you want a little bit more information on, go ahead and click there. All right, let's get over to Blake, tracking a very interesting Friday night forecast, Blake.
Absolutely, yeah. It could be a little dicey around here as we get into Friday night, into the wee hours of the morning on Saturday. Everything on the table from damaging winds to large hail and, yes, even tornadoes, some of which could be on the strong side. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully. Is it any wonder? Look at these temperatures. I mean, folks, this is January, and our morning lows are already warmer than our average daytime high for this time of year. 66 degrees at Bush, 68 degrees at Hobby, 67 degrees in Sugar Land. Those warm temperatures and that southeast wind bringing in all the moisture is going to feed the storm system that's going to be pushing through here tomorrow night. Already a few scattered showers out there towards Columbus and Yoakum, out towards El Campo. Here locally, just a cloudy start to the day. Those clouds are going to be with us, looks like, for the rest of the afternoon. The storm system that we are watching is out here in California. You can see bringing rain to San Francisco, out towards the San Fernando Valley, and getting up towards Reno as well, bringing very heavy snow into that region. Anyway, that's the storm system right there. It's going to continue to move across the desert Southwest and into Texas as we get into Friday. Now, this is 8:30. You can see a nasty squall line developing along I-35. This is going to push into the Houston area, heading into the overnight hours of Friday and into very early Saturday morning. This is going to be the time when we're going to have to watch very carefully for the possibility of some tornadoes, strong winds, and large hail as it pushes through the region. Now, the good news is it's going to move quickly, and that means we're shaping up to have actually a fairly decent weekend. In the meantime, here's a closer look at that future track, and you can see scattered showers expected in the forecast for today. But let me go ahead and bring the monitor around here just a second, because I want to extend this out just a little bit further into time here. And let me back it up. There we go. So this is going to take us into 9:30 this evening, more scattered showers in the forecast, and you'll notice that we're looking at a squall line developing out to the west, pushing into Bryan College Station by the time we get to 11 o'clock tomorrow night, into the I-45 corridor by the time we get to about midnight, 1 o'clock, and you'll notice the individual cells that begin to develop. Those are the ones that we call supercells, and those are the ones that can become tornadic as we head into the overnight hours. It becomes a squall line again as it pushes on off to the east. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has placed most, if not all, of southeast Texas in an enhanced risk of severe weather. This is a 3 out of 5 on the likelihood scale, and it would not surprise me, for looking at the data, if they increase that to a 4 out of 5, something we'll continue to keep you updated on. This is not a flood situation, by the way. We're looking at maybe 1 to as much as 2 inches of rain as this pushes on through. So rain is not going to be the issue, but the severe weather will be. Friday night, again, 10 p.m. to about 3 a.m. for southeast Texas, depending on where you are. Large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes. The biggest threat will be isolated tornadoes, and again, some of those could be on the strong side. In fact, the Weather Service saying EF2 or higher will be a possibility. As far as future track temperatures go for today, we're starting off in those 60s, warming on up to near 70 degrees as we head into the lunch hour. High temperatures today should make it into those mid-70s before it's all said and done. And then once we get to the weekend, things turn out to be pretty nice and significantly cooler. We're talking about high temperatures only in the 50s getting into Saturday, 62 on Sunday. We're back into those 70s heading into Tuesday and Wednesday. We're monitoring the possibility late next week of a fairly strong cold front pushing on through here. It remains to be seen what happens after that, but at least maybe feeling a little bit more like January by the end of next week. So in the meantime, Brandy, you're going to want to be thinking about how you're going to get those severe weather notifications. This is going to be a nocturnal event, so go ahead and download that KHOU weather app, again, because this is going to be coming through while a lot of people are sleeping, and if they do issue tornado warnings, you're going to want to get those alerts right away. So again, the KHOU weather app is going to be the best place to do that.
Awesome plug there, Blake. I was going to follow up with that if you didn't. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Amy asked what flights are going to look like on Saturday morning. I don't have an exact time, but should the storms push through then?
Yes. Well, so most of the flights, the airport does close, sort of. Most of the domestic flights and international flights kick off 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they end usually we have some international flights that leave at midnight or 1 o'clock, but the vast majority of them are between 5 a.m. and about 10 p.m. So I think by the time you're looking at a morning flight on Saturday, all of those storms should be well to the east of the Houston area.
Great news, I am sure, for her. Blake, thank you so much. Our next story was one of our top stories this morning on H-Town Rush. Maybe you saw this developing overnight, but about 10 o'clock last night, there was a shooting inside a Walmart on the southwest side. We're talking Beltway 8 and Bissonnette. Here's what we know, according to Houston police. So it involved two different groups who did not get along before this. They ran into each other at the store. Things escalated. They got into an argument in the checkout line. That's when someone pulled out a gun, started firing. One guy was taken to the hospital and someone was detained, but police say they're still looking for the person who pulled the trigger. So they're going to be looking for surveillance video. But what's really scary is there were customers in there when this happened. Police initially responded to an active shooter situation because that's what they thought it was. And you think about what happened in El Paso, what the customers must have been thinking when they were there. But it was not a random shooting, according to police. So still on the lookout for that guy, but they don't think this is an attack of any kind. Next up, we're watching a developing story that's happening right now here in Houston. If you use the East Loop in your morning commute, you know what I'm talking about. There's an 18-wheeler that buckled, split. This is video from Air 11, just snapped and spilled gravel all over the East Loop. This is in the southbound lanes near Market, so that's just south of I-10. This has been an issue for hours this morning, and Brandon is so smart. You grabbed the TransStar camera, didn't you?
Yeah, the TransStar camera's sitting in the wrong location.
Oh, but it's on the wrong location. Anyway, last check, a couple lanes were still closed. There is traffic getting by, but it's causing a considerable backup. So if you want to get around it, use I-45 or use Beltway 8. That's going to take a while, I can tell you. I'll plug, like Blake did, the KHU 11 News app. When those lanes reopen, we'll let you know. You can sign on for notifications like that. You guys are also clicking on a story about big changes to the Med Center. Shriners Hospital for Children is going to close its doors as of next year. It's consolidating with the Galveston branch in 2021. So according to the marketing director, this is all about making services more efficient for patients because he says right now, a lot of them shuttle back and forth between the Galveston location and then they're referred to Houston and then they go back and forth and back and forth. One of the reasons they chose Galveston as the spot to consolidate everything is because of the proximity to the bird center down there, and that's something that they deal with a lot for the child patients. You can read a full statement from the hospital on khou.com if you are so interested. Speaking of statements, a couple interesting ones out of the royal family yesterday. So the first one came from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That's Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, for most folks. They say they don't really want to be royals anymore. They kind of want to step away from being full-time heads of the royal family. So they say they're going to split their time between the United Kingdom and North America. Meghan, of course, American. She has not been treated very well by the tabloids in England. Yeah, there's a look at response to this morning's or yesterday's news. There's not a lot of explanation why they're choosing to do this, but there's a lot of speculation. Of course, there's always speculation that it's because she just was not treated well. Tabloids tore her apart every chance they got, and so now they're saying, you know what? You've got William and Kate. You've got your future king and queen. We're just gonna chill for a little bit. They have a whole plan listed on their website as well because they still want to use the cottage in Great Britain and probably the royal jet to fly around, but they don't want as much responsibility. I don't know. Some people care about this a lot. As you might be able to tell from my delivery, I am not one of them. But some people feel very passionately about this because they're like, we paid millions and millions for a wedding, and that's what being a royal is all about, and you know what you're signing up for. But what do they call them? The heir and the spare? So you've got the heir, you got William, Harry's the spare. Keep him around, but I don't know. Let me know if you even care This is a really popular trending topic, though, so I think some people do. I think a lot of people are backing Meghan because they're realizing that she might pull some strings. Oh, also, the other statement I want to mention is the Queen's. She said in her statement, basically like, hold up. We got to talk about some stuff. We're going to take our time. So we'll see. That's a story we're going to keep an eye on. And then finally, everybody's favorite grocery store is number 1, H-E-B. According to a new survey, it's this is a weird name. It's a customer data science company, Dunnhumby. I don't know. But for the past 3 years, it's had a retailer preference index that looked at 60 of the nation's top grocery stores, and H-E-B is number 1. It knocked off Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's had been number 1. Amazon and Costco were 2 and 3 last year. So congratulations to H-E-B. Where's your H-E-B? Which one do you go to? Let me know. I have started using the one off Washington, the new one, the 2-story. It's kind of cool. I like that. I like the cart escalator. My girls saw that for the first time 2 weeks ago. They thought I was a dork for being so excited about it, but they thought we should just be able to walk upstairs because you can't walk up the stairs in that section, and they're upset, and obviously they're more active and fit than me. So that's what happens when you take 12 and 14-year-olds out and about. Brandon, tag you're it.
My favorite H-E-B is the one right down the street from here because they just have that huge cheese and bread section that's pretty
I don't
solid.
know that I've ever been.
Yeah, it's right up here on Bering, right up the street on San Felipe. It's like 5 minutes away.
I've never been.
Yeah, go check it out.
That might be my, because it's all about convenience, right? That's where you end up shopping.
Yeah, I live
used
like
Kroger for a long time.
Yeah, I live like half a mile from the H-E-B in Montrose, and I just go to this one because
The West Alabama one?
Yeah. Yeah, that one's good too. Although I can park at this one, so you know.
Buffalo Speedway, isn't it funny?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the sign you're officially an adult, when you've like scouted out and know your favorite grocery
Yeah, the best
stores.
grocery store.
And then you start asking for like pots and pillowcases for Christmas, which is what I've done as well. Comments and questions?
Yeah, well, we've got a couple right here talking about H-E-B. Janie's is on Jones and West. Kim's is on Louetta and Stubner. Sue's is the H-E-B in Pearland. A couple go to the H-E-B in Pearland. That one's pretty good. I think that's the H-E-B Plus. It's like the mega H-E-B.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That one's good, but that one also does stress me out.
So back home, we had a store called Fred Meyer, which was bought out by Kroger. Brandon's shaking his head because he also spent some time growing up in Oregon. And it's, I don't know how to describe it. So it's not like a Kroger here, although it does have a grocery component. More like a Target, I guess now.
Yeah, it's like a Target if the like proportions of groceries to other things were reversed, is what it was always like to me. It's like 60% groceries, 40% everything else, where Target's like, you know, 70% everything else, and then like 30%
And that's what
groceries.
I needed in my life, and that's what H-E-B Plus is to me. I like it a lot. Any other weather questions? Or?
Not questions. We got our one question in. People are just not very excited about the possibility for tornadoes or any kind of inclement weather. I think we're over it. So we got a lot of people chiming in, not too happy about that one.
Blake really emphasized this, and the reason we're stressing it so much, because, you know, sometimes we get feedback, sometimes because it's deserved, for hyping these things up. And sometimes they just don't pan out because it's weather, and Mother Nature can do whatever she wants, and sometimes she just doesn't want to do what the models suspect that she is going to. But when it's something like this, and it's a nighttime event, and people could be asleep, you at least want to be able to say that you provided preventative information, that you let them know how to get those alerts. And that's really, really important. So obviously this is a forecast that we're going to be watching very closely tonight into tomorrow. You can always follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, check khou.com. And then I'm going to plug the app again, because you can sign up for the different notifications. And if you're just looking for weather alerts, there you go. And we'll send those out. I mean, hopefully we don't have to. That's the hope. We would prefer if the weather kind of fizzled, but as we know all too well, sometimes it delivers a little too well. Anything else, Brennan? All right, another update coming up at 2:15. I'm not sure which meteorologist is working that shift, but they'll have an update on the forecast, so tune in for that. We'll see you tomorrow.